Bonanza. We're hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show. Hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to my good friend Quentin Farrell, who made that song. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Brandon Bonanza show. How's everyone doing? I'm great. Today we're going to talk about some really interesting topics. But before we do that, we're going to get straight into the quote of the day for today. And that quote is from Manly P. Hall. The quote is, "If situations are too big for us, we must either move out of them or grow ourselves." And that is the great Manly P. Hall. I just got a Manly P. Tarot. I got a Manly P. Hall tarot deck this year, and we didn't realize when we got it, it was on his, would have been his 101st birthday, 125th birthday. I don't know. We got it on his birthday. It was crazy. What's up, Mr. Nargis? Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What is going on, everybody? I love that quote because this channel, myself, I'm all about growing, about self-work, working on myself, all that fun stuff. So it fits right in because, in 2026, it feels like there's a lot of situations that are, are getting a little big for us. I don't pay attention to anything at all. I'm in a group text with two of my good friends. So now I know whenever somebody dies, it's like a morbid thing, like a celebrity, I mean. So, other than that, I really don't pay attention to much. I'm just trying to be in the moment and take life, be a leaf on a stream, as a good friend of mine. Shout out to my friend Brad, who said that to me, being a leaf on a stream. And I feel like that's what I'm doing today. So anyway, that's all. Let's see what I've been up to. I've been pretty much hermiting, been a hermit. I haven't really been recording a lot of shows. I'm just going to adjust my chair here. But that plan on changing that. I was on I called into Archaic's show the last Saturday, and I talked to him for a few minutes, and he loved my voice, and he invited me on a show. So we'll see if that happens. I emailed him, and I got a bunch of subs. So if any of you guys are here, welcome. Good to see you. I've been following him for a while. I've been following a lot of people. I don't really follow many these days. Like I said, I really don't pay attention to much. I kind of like Archaic's because the history thing. But other than that, I try not to pay attention to what's going on in the world because I feel like this is something I wanted to talk about. I feel like what's going on in the world is directly associated with what we hold to believe in our heads. And I know that might sound crazy, but it does make a lot of sense to me. I mean, why wouldn't it be that way? I'm going to pop my chat out here so I can see it better. Here we go. All right. And I think that if we have our minds focused where they shouldn't be, then that's when, a lot of turmoil and strife and all that stuff can come up. And I have another theory about this too. I've been seeing a lot of manifestation channels. Anyone else? A lot of people talking about manifesting and overcoming their situation, whatever it may be, their situation of lack. And I'm seeing them pop up. A lot of them are talking about Neville. I'm hearing Neville Goddard a lot. And that's somebody we've talked about on this channel. On the Oversharing show, we talked about Neville all the time. But I feel like it's everywhere. So I've been doing it myself, trying to work on this Neville thing of manifestation and trying to live in it, trying to fall asleep at night in the belief that I'm of abundance or whatever it is. And I'm being pretty modest about it. I think that's hey, listen, you can manifest whatever you want in this realm from what I hear. But for me, the key would be to just be simple about it and kind of go with the flow. Because that's what I think I'm here to do. I could be wrong, but I'm really into the Tao. Some other exciting things I've been up to before I get too deep. From 1976, I got the Aleister Crowley Tao Te King. And I'm pretty sure we read the intro in the Oversharing show already. But this is, hey, what's up, Tony? Yeah. I do remember Neville Talk. But I read it again, and it's just the intro itself, and then I'm reading through some of the verses. But It's really interesting. And the funniest part of this, I think I might have marked it even. But anyway, he just talks about Westerners. He's talking about everywhere being spiritual deserts, different places where it's, oh, and we got Buddy Jim. What's up, Jim's with me on the show. He's talking about spiritual deserts and stuff, and he goes all over the world. And he said there's nowhere quite like the United States. And he was writing in like the early teens, 20s. He's like, there's nowhere so spiritually devoid like a desert than the United States. And I was just like, wow. Yeah, 76, 50 years old it'll be. It is this book. 50 years, just like I'm gonna be this year. I mean, in the realm, I feel about birthdays here. Anyway, getting back to the manifestation thing. I feel like all these manifestation channels are popping up. People are talking about Neville and they're getting a lot of traction. So it leads me to believe, and I was pondering, like, what's the negative of that? Like, what's the photo negative? What can that mean if I'm trying to make predictions or whatever? And to me, that means that maybe a lot of people, or anyway, people who are spiritual or who are into this type of stuff are about to get money. I don't know, or something's going to happen where they get a bunch of abundance. It only makes sense if all these people are watching these videos and they're employing these techniques. Aren't they all gonna, manifest these things? So maybe it's kind of like a reverse wave or reverberation backwards in time, letting us know that people like us are about to get hooked up somehow. And I don't know how, but I have a feeling it has to do with being thankful and grateful and not being a victim. I mean, that's kind of like a good compass, I think, that we talk about hardcore stuff here at the Brandon Bonanza channel, hardcore self-work, and that is, are you being a victim? In any moment, can you see it? And, I'm not saying I'm perfect at this stuff. Trust me, we can all from time to time head into victimville, but can we get out? We got to get our GPS and get us back to Victorstan, and get out of Victimville. The Victimville. Anyway, so I think that's what's coming. I have a feeling, and I like this idea of not really making predictions, I guess, but kind of going with the flow, but of instead of trying to see what's going on by watching the news or everyone else's interpretation of what's going on out there, by just kind of looking at the type of stuff people are consuming, I guess, in that regard. And that's one way to do it. I think there's a few other ways I feel like it's happening too, where you can use this negative of reality or whatever. It's like the apophatic method, kind of. You're using you're taking things away, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, and that is what was the other? Oh yeah, so if you have something bad happen, say you get some bad news, say I don't know, somebody tells you that your time is up and you have to leave your job, right? They're going to fire you from your job. You have like, or say they're like, listen, the company's like, going out and we only got a month left and that's it. Or we got to get rid of you, whoever you are, right? And I think, yeah, water flow. Exactly, Tony. I think that if that's the case, instead of looking at it as like, what was me, I lost my job or whatever, or whatever it is, maybe your boss, because everybody forgets we're plugged into this collective unconsciousness. We like to think about normies and like people who, or that people who are awake and people who get it. We like to file ourselves away. We're like, we get it. We're not normies, and that doesn't affect us. We're fine. And I feel like it is okay to move away from the collective and to try to distance it up or whatever your path is. But I feel like it's essential to remember that we're still connected to this collective consciousness in a way, and just the way that humans or people, men and women, how we communicate. It's not always just like, like this on Zoom and face to face. Could it be that there's this element to it that people have called psychic or something? Maybe you're just picking up on certain waves. So maybe you have a great opportunity coming in your life and you were going to leave that job anyway. And your boss picked up on it and he doesn't know exactly who he picked up on. But in his translation, he's like, oh, I got to get rid of this guy. I got to get rid of this stellar employee before he just walks out on me. Who knows, whatever it is. And so I feel like if you are looking at bad situations that way, something that you perceive that happened to you as a negative or a bad thing, I feel like that's another way to look at it where it's not exactly a positive, but you can look at it as more balanced. It's not just good things and bad things happening to us all day. I had a bad day. I had a good day. No, you're just living life. Maybe. Could it be? That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. Anyway, they kind of change these things around. I don't even know how many people are in here. So I could see there's at least two chatting. So at least I'm not talking to myself, which I don't mind. I would talk to myself all. Oh no, I see it now. For some reason, it's all bigger. There's five. Yes. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. These are the kind of things that I talk about, really just spirituality. And then I attempt sometimes on occasion to make it funny. So I guess we should do some of that too, because I really feel like this realm, I feel it's kind of like there was a comedian. Everyone's like, well, maybe God got bored and he cut himself into 10 billion pieces, and that's us, and we're all trying to find our way home. Which I love that idea. I don't know why I said it in that voice. It's a great idea. But what if he was a comedian, Because it really does feel like, I don't know, it feels like it's a comedian, right? That sometimes the stuff that happens to us, they'll say, well, later we can look back in this and laugh, later this thing that you're seeing is tragic or despair inducing or just terrible. Later, we're going to look back on the irony of the situation or whatever it is, and we're going to laugh. Well, I say, why not laugh now? Because I don't like to make claims here on the Brandon Bonanza show, but I will say that I feel like it is a comedian who's running this. Maybe I'm projecting because I like to do comedy. Classic, right? And there's another example where if you're pointing the finger and you think that somebody else is causing all your problems, it could just be your own projections. I mean, isn't that crazy? A little insane, I think. Yeah, so I don't know what else is going on. I've been working on some comedy. I really want to get to do some open mics, but it's hard. If you ever done comedy, if you haven't, it's like you gotta really stick with it and devote the time. So I've been writing, I just haven't really got on the stage, but I'm talking about I want to just make it silly and I want to make it fun. I'm thinking about talking about things like mouse flavored cat food. Why don't we have mouse flavored cat food? It would check so many boxes. It solves so many problems, right? So anybody could grow their own mice. You know how easy it is to grow mice if you've ever had a mouse problem. You just throw food on the ground and voila, it's there. It's just the butchering part. It's gross, right? You got to fillet your own. I think I think that's what stops it. But I think there's something there. There really is because it just makes too much sense to me. It doesn't, it would make too much sense. It's too cheap. All these problems we have. We have to catch fish out of the sea. We got to raise lamb to be slaughtered for cats to eat or chickens or whatever they're eating. And beef. We got to raise cow. No, mice. That's what they want to eat anyway. I don't know. All right, guys. Anyway, let's see what else am I thinking about moving forward. So I've been looking at becoming. This isn't it's so funny. This isn't the comedy part of the show, but I've been looking at becoming a death doula and dealing with death. And the reason I bring up death is because it's this topic. It's so fascinating to me. As I puff on my organic tobacco, leaf only, go to leafonly.com. Tell my sent you. That's right. Because everything that were like religions and spiritual guides and like prophets and holy men and women and all these people have ever told us is that this isn't it. There's something else after whatever it is. And then obviously, different religions have different things and we won't get into that. But I think that, and then even in literature, look at Tolkien. And this is something I talk about all the time. Tolkien totally talked about in the Silmarillion, and he even had the elves talk to the men at some point, being like, dude, death is a gift. You guys, we, the elves, are stuck here when we die in this realm. You get to go. And what are you doing? So I feel like if that's the case, if death isn't really the end, if it is just another transition, then there really is nothing to worry about. But everything in this reality will convince you that it's real. It's so crazy. It's just like manifesting. What do they tell you when you're trying to manifest? What does Neville say? He's like, you have to believe the unbelievable. Basically, you have to take what's not in existence, put it in your imagination, and then however you do it, go to sleep in that, try to always feel it, imagine different scenarios, but you want to try to train your imagination to manifest. And I feel like it's the same thing with overcoming death. You kind of have to train yourself. Sometimes it happens to people quickly. They have a near-death experience. They almost drowned, or they almost get hit by a car, or they do, and they survive something, or something catastrophic happens, or someone they know close to them dies, and everything changes. And a lot of those things happen to me, actually. I mean, not recently, but throughout my life. I almost drowned. I've had people close to me die. And like when I was in high school, my cousin passed away, and then one of my good friends the next year passed away. So it was an eye-opening experience. And I feel like that's why I have a different view on death than everyone else does. I feel like I shed all those tears years ago. And again, of course, I still get sad when people die. But there's this fight inside me, right? And it's like, well, there's somewhere better, but they're still not here. So is it sad? Why am I really sad? Am I just mourning me wanting to be with them if they're in a better place now and they moved on and they're doing their work? So when you start to pick apart, and I mean, it's different for everybody, and I'm not telling anybody how to grieve here, anyone. Grieving is its own thing. But if you can get to that last stage of acceptance, or whenever you do get there, I think you could kind of see what I'm talking about. And I feel like when we mourn people too much, there's a little bit of selfishness going on. And I'm not, listen, I'm not making any judgments here. I don't make judgments here. We're talking about self-work. This is stuff I'm working on. So just so you guys know out there, because I get it, people go through this, especially this year. It seems that, I don't know, something about this year, things are starting to go in fast forward again. It feels like another like a 2020 type of year where everything's moving crazy with the events and stuff. So, and with people exiting the realm, I guess you could say. So I think that's really what we should focus on, what we're grateful for. Remember that they're in a better place. And remember that mouse flavored cat food is the way to go. Solid idea. Why hasn't this been done before? I wonder. Yes, exactly. Rat flavored cat food is a banger. Yeah, somebody told me that you could solve the rat problem in New York City. You don't unleash the cats, because then the cats multiply, and then you're stuck like Australia with the hare and the fox and the rabbit and all that, and then you get stuck with elephants or whatever at the end of that line. No, you just you just send in skilled rat hunters, and they could set rat traps. This sounds a lot like an exterminator, but not an exterminator, because they're not using poison, because we want free range New York City rats. We don't want no chemically raised hormone rats. You got to have free range for your kitties. Garbage fed rats. They're the happiest. You got to get garbage fed rats, guys. I think we're coming up with bits here on my thank you. Running bits. We're running bits. But yeah, I just like, I just like to hang out and have a good time. Sometimes I'll do shorter content. I worked with that a couple months ago, and a lot of those videos had really high views, or like 30, 60 seconds or whatever. And I think I'll work with those in the future, but I always like to have this uh, format where I could just kind of hang out and talk and speak about what's on my mind, and practice talking in public, because that's what I do for a living. Um, yeah, so, you know. But I had some questions in my comment section. I did a new welcome video. Guys, check out my new welcome video. It's 1 minute long. It's the best welcome video I've ever seen, I promise you, on this channel. And Yeah, it was great. Anyway, so I had a couple of comments. Let's see, let me go to those. One of the comments was, "What are my stances on LSD and psychedelics and psilocybin mushrooms and all that stuff?" Well, I think you could tell by looking at me. I'm sorry, I don't know if this is exact, but I think you could tell by looking at me. My answer to that question, I don't know. No, I do have a healthy respect for psychedelics. Yes, I do. I may have or allegedly use them in my own spiritual guide. Like anything else, it's a tool. I'm sure they can be misused. People can have a bad trip if they ain't ready for some truth in that. The mushroom, I feel like it dissolves your ego, whatever the heck that means. And you get to just see things where they really are. You can't lie to yourself. You see the exact truth. I remember one time allegedly when I did them, and it was like my living room where I was living. I needed to vacuum. My rug I had always looked. I had to vacuum like almost every day. It was crazy as the cats. It was white. It wasn't fancy. It was like an Ocean State Job Lot special, guys. Don't judge me. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I had like stripes. But anyway, when I was the partaking with it was like, wow, that's dirty. I'm like, man, it wasn't even. But that it's stuff like that. But then just think about if you're engaging in behavior that isn't quite aligning with, let's say, uh, in behavior you'd engage in if you weren't so heavily influenced by your ego, then I think you might see some things that could scare you. I saw some when I first had my thing years ago. I did have a scary experience, but it wasn't really bad. Just like part of it was a little scary. And then later, when I went through it a few times, it was really profound and I kind of decoded it. So even the bad times, like I said earlier, even the times when you think it's bad, you're just like going with the flow. And that's what this is, flowing like water. That's what we're doing. You know my flow. You know my stilo. I went from 10 G's for blow to 30 G's for hoe. All right. That's my biggie. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Uh, yeah, I don't even know what I was gonna say after that. But anyway, we're flowing like water, so it's good stuff. Good stuff today, all good stuff. So I know I want to talk about psychedelics. So yeah, it's about my gist on the old psychedelics would be that. And let me see if I could find. I think there was an. I'm so well prepared today. I think there was another comment that I wanted to see. YouTube is really weird. If you've left a comment and I didn't, usually I try to respond to every comment. And if I haven't, or if I haven't at least liked or hearted it, that means that I didn't see it. And the way that YouTube shows comments or the way that they notifications, it's really weird. I get like different notifications on my iPad and like different ones on my phone through the studio. And it's tough. I know, first world problems. So let's see if we can find it. Oh, look, I'm live. Da 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 da. I wonder if it'll start now. I could probably hit it before it starts. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Yes. And then yeah, psychedelic drugs. Glad yeah, oh, maybe that was it then. I Well, anyone else has any questions, please put them toward me. Please put them to me, and I will fastidiously answer them as diligently and as quickly as I can for my lovely, amazing audience. Let's see what else is going on. I've been really into, yeah, I guess just manifesting. That's really what I'm working on is the whole manifestation thing and trying to work with the belief. And it's really tricky, I'll say. But I'll tell you something, since I've been flowing like water and going with the flow even more this year, I've been really trying to focus on it. Things have been working out so much better. I see how things happen. And when something happens, instead of judging it, I'm just like, wait a minute, let me look back and see what happens. I mean, of course, this doesn't always happen, where this is why this is a practice. But when I can remember, it's really amazing. And I don't know if you guys know this, most of you guys know this, I'm a wedding DJ. And this year, the weddings have been really, really a lot of fun. And it seemed, and I've had couple of challenging ones with different music tastes and really outside the box. And I got a review like the day after I did the wedding. The guy left a review about how I did such an amazing job. So it felt great. But normally in the past, I would probably worry about that stuff and go over things and be like, what am I going to do? It's not like this or that. But that day I was like, you know what? It's going to be exactly right. I have everything prepared. It's going to go how it's going to go. And I did it just like the Dow. How you like me now? I flowed through it and it was amazing. And there was a couple of hiccups during the ceremony. One of the microphones, which had never happened to me, we use lapel microphones. One of the microphones just wasn't like I tested it, connected, it worked. Something happened. It was, I don't know. Maybe it was where we were. I mean, we do a lot of things outside, but we're an undisclosed location. There might have been some interference, but anyway, so I ran up right as everyone was getting up there, went to the officiant. I'm like, sorry, everybody, this never happens. Just switched a couple things around, like proceed. And they were all like, yeah, man, that's cool. No worries. And everyone forgot about it after. As long as you can make them dance, they forget everything. That's the key to all this. And the other key to all this is, oh, what do we got? What's up, Joe? YouTube. Yeah. Well, you could say that now. I think it's okay to, from what I understand, you could just, it's like open season on YouTube. You could just talk about what people are getting kicked off for years. And you know what that's, oops, what am I doing? I didn't just put some of the time out, did I? Sorry. I'm clicking my mouse by mistake. All right, we're good. Yeah, so what that says to me, if that's the signal, right? If they're saying, hey, everybody, you could say whatever you want on YouTube. I mean, before, right, you couldn't say anything, especially, 4 years ago, there was this thing going on. I don't even know if you can still talk about it. Had to do a medical advice, and you couldn't talk about it unless you were praising it. And if you did, you got kicked off, right? And you couldn't talk about who was doing it because if you talked about who was doing it, you get kicked off. But now you could talk about anybody like that, certain groups of people, and you could just name them. And I mean, I was watching Family Guy the other day. I don't watch a lot of TV anymore, but on occasion, I will watch some Bob's Burgers is good because they don't get involved in anything. Family Guy, it's a good way to kind of check the temperature of things without really checking the news. And I got a good temperature check because they were doing one about history and they covered the Civil War. It was hilarious. And you guys know how I feel about Civil War. No, it was a weird thing to say. I feel like it's the most Americans that ever died in a war. I was in the military. It's just anyway, they did a good job parodying it, I guess. They also made fun of World War II and a certain group of people, and they did a joke, and I was surprised they got away with it. So anyway, if you want to check that out, I don't want to talk about that here, but it's so weird that all this stuff is being allowed to come into the media now. And I feel like people have been talking about it and that this was going to happen, but it feels like we're at that point where it's going to happen. So that's why I felt like I should get back on my microphone and start talking to you great people and providing some some entertainment education. So providing some education, some entertainment that doesn't have that stuff. Whatever. Anyway, so it's providing some entertainment for you good people that isn't, it doesn't have an agenda. My only agenda is maybe you'll send me some money or watch this or, come in my chat or whatever. That's my agenda. My real agenda is to just vent to you people and then come up with some comedy. I don't know. What's the agenda? I have a pod now. I could tell people I have a podcast. I have to do at least once in a while, right? If I'm going to tell people I have one, I got to do it. But yeah, those are the agendas that take place on the Brandon Bonanza show. So I feel like, if you're starting to feel some hate towards the people, and I don't really think that happens with the people that watch the show, but you never know. If you're starting to find some people and you're like, man, these people are the cause of my problems, and you want to point the finger at them, I would just ask you to do one thing. Just remember the old adage. When you're pointing a finger, you got 3 pointing back. I always have to check because it seems that I used to think they said 4. I don't know. I read 3 pointing back. Anyway, you're basically pointing yourself 3 times. 3 is the magical number. It's you. What about those people, these people that we'll say the elite, let's just say this, right? The elite, whatever you want, the controllers, people call them, the people in power, Ronald Thump, whoever you want. Could it be they exist for a reason to harness your hate? They're like a conduit. And if you are working against what you don't want instead of working for what you do want, it's a totally different energy. It's a totally different polarity. And it could be possible that your energy is being vamped on, it's being sucked on and taken away. So that's why I try to stay away from all that stuff. And I know it's hard because it's like level crazy out there. It's like Halo Legendary a million. I don't even know if that's a good video game term. What are kids playing these days? What's the one? I don't even remember. Anyway, it's like Halo level a million out there. So I would say, is it water or a drink? One of it. Yeah. I would say keep your own energy for yourself right now. It's a great time for that. It really is. It's the best time for that. Work toward what you want instead of against what you don't want. It's such an important distinction. I got it. What is her name that said that on her podcast? And it blew my mind. She's an astrologer. I'll shout her out right now because I can't just say this. And I think she was on her KX's show, actually. That's how I found her. And she does real sky astrology, which I've heard of before. And I've followed somebody else years ago, but there's so many, only too many threads and rabbit holes. That one got lost, but I did like maybe I listened to a guy in Crow 777 about real sky astrology or something. I can't remember. This is possible. So, got me some water. Got me some wasabita. Put that here so it doesn't fall. All right. I think, was her name Danny? What was her name? Let's see. I know I do get her things once in a while. Anyway, so I feel like this is the time when you really got to just keep your attention to yourself. Because when you are letting it go out there, especially times like this, even when you're fighting against what you don't want, that is like oh man, maybe somebody in the chat knows I'm so terrible at shouting people out. That's when they get you. Could it be? Think about this: if there was no TVs, if there was no internet, we went to the Mark Twain. I went with my wife and some family people to the Mark Twain house, and they were like, Mark Twain didn't even. He had one telephone in his house, and he didn't even want it at first. He was like, I don't. Why do I want a phone? He's like, if anyone's, and I was like, yeah. I mean, so that's when I say I'm a hermit, that's what I'm talking about. And it's nothing against anybody. I just like to keep my attention for myself. Apparently, still trying to figure it out. But anywho, just imagine even if there was no phone, you would have no idea what was going on in the world. It wouldn't affect you. Your top priority would be how am I going to make my own food? How am I going to maintain my shelter or get shelter if I don't have it? How am I going to keep my family safe? How are we making it through the winter? These are the questions, right? And now it's so easy to do those things. You just call, on your phone, you could just get food or you could I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just a different experience. It's a totally different experience. And if we're not conscious of that, then we're living not in reality. How can I put that in better words? Like if there's part of you subconsciously that still thinks we have like tiny tribes, because I feel like our brains are wired for small tribes, right? Like we're wired. And shout out to Bear Walker. He was just talking about this recently when I saw him. He's a Native American medicine man, and he was saying how we're not wired. And my wife actually was the one who told me that he told her this, but I have seen him recently. Shout out to my lovely wife, by the way, who reminds me of all these amazing things. When I forget, but she was talking about how, or he was talking about how, I think they even did the experiment with rats. When you just take too many rats and put them together, right? They go crazy. But when you leave them spread out, they're just fine. And I know you probably heard of those cocaine rat experiments. Shout out to cocaine. Am I right, everybody? The show spot. No, it's not sponsored by cocaine. I'm never even. So they did these experiments and everyone's like, wow, the rats got hooked on cocaine. And then they just kept doing cocaine until they died. Right? But is that true? Yeah, maybe. But did they tell you that when they did this experiment and they duplicated the experiment and they took rats that were happy in like an enclosure where they had enough room and they could play and they could be happy little rats, not rat cat food, but happy rats, then they left the cocaine alone. Does this sound familiar, anybody? They didn't need to engage in escapism when they weren't piled on top of each other. That should tell you something. And you could be like, well, I don't live in the city, Brandon. I'm a homesteader and I live 25 million miles away from any city and I have solar and I'm good to go and have all that stuff. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because like I was saying before, we're plugged into collective, right? But that's not also why it doesn't matter either, because you're plugged in through the internet. So even though you're not around a bunch of people, you have this awareness of everybody in the world. And you're like, oh my God, those people over there are going through so much stuff. Look at all this stuff. It's horrible. But are they? Yeah. Let's say they are going through exactly what the news says. Could it be possible that this is a place where we go and like I was saying before, death isn't the end. So maybe for some reason, and this is just a view of a God, this is the spiritual view. When you're stuck in the, oh my God, that's the physical view. The spiritual view is more like, hey, everybody, I'm the spiritual view. You ever think that maybe it's possible that all those people suffering and going through that stuff they're going through, maybe they're just learning some lessons on some level that we would never, as mere mortals, be able to understand. Could this be true? I don't know. I think it could be true. I think it totally could be true. So if that's the case, then at least we don't have to feel like victims. It doesn't mean we have to support them. Doesn't mean you have to pay your taxes because it all goes to war. Why would you do that? Just kidding, YouTube. But no, it doesn't mean you have to openly support it and be like, yeah, USA, let's go to war. I mean, maybe, it depends on your view. And if there are people who are cheering on war and you're against the war, you could just say to yourself, well, you know what? Maybe they're cheering it on so it'll go faster. So everyone over there will learn their lessons more. I don't know. And that's not a conversation you should probably have in public, though. We're talking about internal conversations so you don't feel like a victim. But now you get up on a pedestal and you start to do it. It's a lot different because people aren't ready to hear all the truth, right? That's why I mask it so far into the channel after we talk about rat flavored cat food. Because all those people who would have been offended are already tuned out, which is great, you know? And that is, I feel like that's the essence of it all. We could, but again, it's a practice. It's an everyday thing. Maybe the people who figure it out right away and just get it, they're the ones that become like the enlightened ones, or maybe they just spiritually dematerialize. Who knows? Maybe they go on to the next realm. Ishtak Bentov, he wrote these amazing books, and then they said he figured it out. He told his friend he figured out the secret behind his realm and life and all this stuff, and he got in a plane, and the plane crashed. Maybe it's because we weren't meant to know. And they had to call him back like, Ishtak, not too much, buddy. Those books are just enough. Those books are mind-blowing, by the way. Stalking the Wild Pendulum, I'm about halfway through that one. Check it out. Maybe more. I don't even know. It's a good one. Stalking the Wild Pendulum by Ishtak Bentov. Great book. All right, what's everyone saying? Garbage fed, all natural, free range, organic cat food. It looks funny, but the health benefits are astronomical. Yes. Flow or crash, be water or and shit. Yeah, there you go. Where the attention goes, energy flows. What's up, Spoons? Might as well focus on manifesting the wanted. Yes, because when it's really because we get stuck in these worries and concerns, which are so normal of this physical world. Because every day we're told when we're young, you got to get a job. Not all of us. Some of us were raised by hippies. Not me. I was raised by ex-hippies, and they're like, you got to get a job. And I'm like, man. Anyway, so when I was 11, I got a paper, or 12, or whatever it was, and I'm working cents for the man. But no, there's nothing wrong with working. What I'm trying to say is, I feel like what happens is there's this fear that we develop because of the constant reminder and the things we see around us, these examples of poverty, and these constant reminders that if you don't work and save all your money and you don't do things you're supposed to, you're going to fail. And then you're going to get thrown in the unwanted bin. You're going to get cast off to Misfit Toy Island or whatever the hell's going to happen. And that's what happened to me. And I'll tell you, I'm back from Misfit Toy Island, and that's a rough place. You don't want to go. Just keep working. This manifestation stuff is a lie. Keep working. Anyway, so no, but seriously, yeah, I'm just gonna take a quick pause, everybody. The reason I use on the artwork the many faces of Brandon is because I feel like allegedly, remember when this is comedy, there's several Brandons inside. It's almost like there's multiple personalities. It's a joke, everyone. It's YouTube inside Brandon, and they all happen to come out. And sometimes when one starts to come out more, I'll lose my place in what I was talking about. So, but anyway, so we're trained, and it's kind of like we're indoctrinated, brainwashed, whatever word you want to use. They sound a little victimy, but it's just the way culture persists. It's passed down, it's handed on. It's how it's how populations are controlled by government. Read Dune. It's all right there. All the Frank Herbert novels. Just read them a bunch of times, and you won't even have to watch my show anymore. And I think the key is that we have this brainwashing that it keeps us in this poverty state because we always feel like we have to do more. So when we feel that we have to do more and it becomes our solid belief system, we crystallize that into what they call matter in this realm, or we crystallize a scene or a feeling. And if it's a feeling of worrying about debt and paying the bills and stuff every day, you're just going to keep repeating it over and over again for yourself. So I think the key really is, I mean, you could go straight for manifestation, but I would say instead of trying to manifest things, maybe you should take a look at why you can't manifest and work on that. And that's why when I did like meditation and all this other stuff years ago, when I started to wake up and do self work. But I feel like, and not even that I'm advocating a total practice or like a right hand path. You could be as left hand and as wild as you want. But what I'm saying is, if you're focusing all your attention on trying to manifest and become a manifester, guess what? You're not a manifester. And you're literally telling the universe, I want to be a manifester because I'm not one. You don't say that, but that's what you're saying. You don't say it with your voice, but with your actions, you are. So I would say, you know, work on something, work on why are you unhappy with your situation? What about it is making you so mad? And if you could say, Brandon, I can't pay my bills, I get it. What is the lesson to be learned here? What's going on? What can I do? How can I overcome? How can I be a victor? How can I get my way to get my way out of get my way out of Victimville and get back to Victorvania. That's where we're all headed to, Victorvania. So I feel like that is the real key to manifestation, because not only some people get it, they can manifest. Look at Kanye West. He believed he was a good rapper, and now apparently he is. He believed he was a good famous rapper, or he could be, and then he became one. Apparently. So so what I'm saying is, if he could do it, you can. But even if you do manifest, right? So say you are someone who has this way to focus your attention in a laser beam way, and you could just be like, boom, and you're like, whoa, I start manifesting. There comes an applied danger, because I think we're here to learn lessons. We're going to learn them. And if there's other lessons you might not be learning in one area of your life, they're going to cross into this manifestation thing. So then you're just going to keep manifesting things that are going to point you back, and it's going to seem like problems and it might not work out. I don't know. Is this making any sense to anybody? So that's where I am. That's where I find myself in between. I was on a road trip. I was leaving Victimville and I was headed for Victorvania, and I got lost along the way. So I'm somewhere in between those two destinations. And sometimes I turn around, I'm like, wait, where am I going? Why am I going back to Victimville? What's going on? Oh my God, I can't take it. And I'm like, what am I doing? I got this voice and I'm this giant man, and look at how I look. How can I be a victim? So, but anyway, I feel like that's what, for me anyway, that's what I'm checking, and that's what life seems to be. What about you guys? How you guys doing out there in YouTube land? You leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I pride myself on. That's probably wrong word. I guess yeah, I'm proud. I'm a very proud man that it's hard to offend me. So I mean, sometimes people I even have comments from years ago where they're like trying to take shots at guests or whatever. I usually delete them, but sometimes I'll even get a heart. I'll just be like, yeah, man, that's great. Good for you. You were able to type and hit send. Because not everyone could do that. Not everybody has 10 fingers. And not everybody has 10 toes. Not everybody has two knees, and not everybody has two elbows. And a lot of people don't have a brain. So you can be thankful because you have a brain. You're watching this, so you must have some kind of a brain in your head because great this is. You're watching this, but also you are on the road to working on yourself. So be grateful for that. But if you can't be grateful, like I always try to say, you have 10 fingers. If you don't, you have 9 or whatever. If you don't, you can hear my voice. You have ears, you have eyes, you have something to be grateful for because not everybody has these things. And think about how crummy life would be for you, not for these people. They're doing great out there without their things that they're missing. They're not victims, so why should you be? That's what I'm trying to say. I saw a three-legged dog the other day. He was running around. He didn't care about his missing leg. He's like, I'm still here. I'm gonna get the treats, and I'm gonna poop on that neighbor's lawn. He was happy. So I feel like we can all learn a lesson from a three-legged dog. Anytime you're feeling down, be like, at least I ain't a three-legged dog. I mean, life probably would be pretty easy as a three-legged dog, as long as you had a loving owner. But it's all these questions and challenges that come up in life, and just when you think you have it figured out. So that's why I really think they put certainty as a road to ruin on the Oracle at Delphi. Know thyself, and certainty is a road to ruin. The question I would ask was, well, should I know myself certainly then, like beyond all certainty? And they'd be like, Brandon, you gotta leave. You can't ask no more questions. You gotta leave everywhere you go. Your questions are too crazy for us. Because I would have, well, if certainty is the road to ruin, did you mean like when you wrote know thyself, were you certain about that though? Because then I wouldn't want to ruin myself. Like, you got to go, Brandon. You can't. But I think that's what this road, it's not meant to be figured out. I don't think this realm really is meant to be figured out. I love people who try, and it's cool to ponder out what it could be and how it exactly works, or not exactly how it works, because I guess you could figure out to a degree how it works. A lot of people have, but to figure out exactly what this experience is. And I don't think we're supposed to know. And that's the thing that drives everyone crazy, because the first thing they do when they're like, all right, so we're eternal beings, where's the proof? Show me the proof. And it's like, well, we're here because you're supposed to believe without the proof. But they're like, nope, show me the proof. And I'm like, I would love to show you the proof, but I think the rules are, I don't know, I didn't make them, but I think you're supposed to believe without the direct proof and kind of conduct your life as if though that were the case. And then, maybe you'll see the proof in your own life. You know what I saw yesterday? Baby baby black bears. A mama black bear with 3 baby cubs, and she was hustling them up a tree. We were driving. She was in someone's yard, and she stood up like there's another car stopped to watch, and then they left, and we slowed down a little to make sure they were going to run the road. And they were a good like 40 feet away. They weren't close. And she stood up. It was amazing as her little babies shuffled up the tree. And we see bears all the time, all kinds of. We saw a porcupine, which is very rare for my neck of the woods. They're around, but I've only seen a porcupine once in the woods, and it was when I was like backpacking in Vermont. I don't think I've ever seen one in the great old state of Connecticut. I mean, I know they're here, but here, well, we saw bobcats run across the street, like good size too. You know, a turkey ran out in front of us when we were driving. We were going slow, so we slowed down, and he gobbled right in front of us. So, I feel like when you start to try to go with the flow, and they say that signs follow, so I feel like you see the signs, but when you see the sign, it's not like it's about to come. No, you already are it. You're on the right path. Just stay the course. The signs are there. What do you want? Proof? What do you want? Proof? What are you, doubting Thomas? Didn't you read that in your Sunday school Bible lesson? Thomas was the disciple, the apostle, who didn't believe that Jesus came back from the dead because everyone else saw him and Thomas was like last to the party. P.S. Thomas means twin. You guys probably already know that. But so what does that mean? Right. We'll dissect that in a minute. Let's pause that one. But so Thomas was like, he's like, I don't believe it, man. I got to see it with my own eyes. I got to see your holes, man. Maybe Thomas just had some, maybe he's just, I don't know. I don't want to. This is a comedy podcast. Maybe he was a necrophiliac. He's like, I want to see them holes. All right. So no, but Thomas being the twin, how crazy is that? Thomas means twin, or you think a twin and it's really like the Janus, right? The two-faced God, like is Thomas really Jesus? And then if so, he doubted that he really came back. What's implied there? What's the esoteric breakdown of that? Maybe I should talk about that or try to break it down in a future episode because I feel like there's definitely something there. But anyway, doubting Thomas, he doubted, and the story was that he had to see it to believe it. And everybody now from here Memorial calls that guy doubting Thomas, or they'll call somebody who doubts, they'll call you a doubting Thomas. Most not even knowing that story. Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak for people, but some I'm sure who say that don't even know the story. But I feel like it's hilarious. Just because he doubted, now everybody throughout history knows who he is, or at least calls other people a pejorative with his name in it. I mean, that's a bummer, right? All he had to do was trust the plan. We all know the story, right? Jesus did in that story, he was resurrected. I'm not getting into theology debates, but in that story, they said he was resurrected. So, Thomas was the last man out. But the good thing about Thomas is once he saw the proof, he did change his tune and he believed it. Because think about how many people that see proof of things that are bad in their own life and they just keep going, nope, I'm going to put my head in the sand and stick my head in the sand and not even worry about it. So that's what you get here at Brandon Bonanza. I'm going to dissect it, I'm going to judge it, and then I'm going to show compassion. And I feel like that's what we could do in life because I feel like that's what I do. I see people in the situation, I'm like, why is this guy cutting his lawn? He just cut it yesterday and he's leaf blowing again. Like, does he have nothing better to do? And I'm like, you know what? I bet what it is his daddy, when he was young, used to yell at him do the lawn, and now his daddy's gone to another place. So he likes to cut the lawn, and he has that voice and he says, like, you gotta cut the lawn. So he's out there every day with a ruler, making sure the lawn doesn't go over an inch and a half. And if there's any leaf or any piece of dust, you gotta blow it. I don't even know where they're blowing it to, but you gotta blow it. You think if you blow the leaves, it's like a check mark, like in video games. Yeah, you just blow them like, all right, those are blown. They're good. You can just leave them. We blew those already. What does it say if you got to blow things constantly because of your daddy wound? I don't know, man. We're getting into some dark territory here on the Brandon Bonanza show. Let's let's take a pause. It's been almost an hour. I had a couple minutes. I got started late because of it's hilarious. I was here. I mean, I even went to the store. I had to run in the store to get something before because they closed by the time I'm done, probably. Got it all done, got here, got ready to go. I was ready. Everything was ready. I had the quote, I had the song. I went to share my screen, and for some reason, Zoom was like, nah, man, you can't share your screen. I'm like, let's go. This is something new. So I guess I had to upload and restart. But it's cool in Brandon Bonanza fashion, and that's why I went with the flow. Did I get mad, or did I get nervous, or did I get worried that people were gonna be like, "You're late, Brandon," and I'm like, "No, a wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. So shut the hell up." That's how that line should have went, right? Am I right? A wizard is never late, so shut the hell up. That's how. A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins, so shut your pie hole. Instead of saying, he merely arrives when he means. It's like, listen, the wizard came, all right? Is that good enough for you? He didn't show up when he was supposed to? Oh, I'm sorry. You have another wizard that could fill in? I didn't think so. All right, let's get this wizard fireworks show on the road. Anyway, I should just do parody of Lord of the Rings. This water is brought to you by lovely Italian water. Oh man, I get this Italian mineral water. It's just regular, not fizzy. And it brings me back to being in Italy. It's crazy because in Italy, I don't know if you know this, but you can't drink the water. It's like Mexico if you're from this part of the realm. I mean, I guess you can get used to it over time, but I was there for 6 months and they're like, don't drink the water. So they just had pallets of water bottles. Oh, how's my favorite? I'm doing great. Just recap. So they had pallets. What's up, QSB, Chris? Quiet Sparky Bear. They had pallets of water everywhere so we could just drink it. And it tasted just like this. And it would refresh my little 19-year-old body who was drinking every when we got to we're on a carrier and then we got off the carrier, but we didn't get to go to port. We had to fly. Well, I didn't fly, but the planes flew that we worked on. The A6B Prowlers, they jammed radar. So they had to fly those planes off. And we went to an Air Force base in Aviano and kept working while everyone on the ship got to party. So we did it. They put us on shifts of 24 hours on, 24 hours off, basically. So they would let us sleep if we were on shift and there wasn't much going on, we could take a nap or whatever. But we had to be at the hangar, and so it was basically like 24 hours of working and 24 hours like just partying in Italy. So great Italian mineral water. I highly recommend it. I don't know if I could do that with. Yeah, I'm sure I could. It's all my belief system. Anyway, what's up, QSC? Your favorite wizard is great. I'm whizzing the whiz. Sorry, didn't. I think I probably owe a couple people in here a text. You guys get it. I'm working on new situations, so you know how it is. But I'm glad to be podcasting, and I want to try to keep this a regular thing. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the show, I called in on Archaix's show last Saturday. I've been keeping up with him every once in a while. I don't really keep up with much, but I'm just a sucker for that old history and the stuff in the books and sucker for the old books, man. And like Charles Fort. Oh my God, I got this. Hang on, I'm getting it. Oh, there's two of them. Hang on. This one I should pull out anyway, but this book, Charles Fort, The Complete Works of Charles Fort. This is the second edition because I'm not a millionaire. And I got a really good, let me tell you something. You want to get a used book, just look on eBay or A Books, make some offers. You can get some deals. In this book, the collected works of Charles Fort, this first one that I was reading was where is it? It's so good. I forget the name of it, so I don't want to misquote it. Come on. I think it was in the front. Oh yeah. The Book of the Damned. It's called the Book of the Damned, and he basically goes throughout history, or he's going through all these accounts of different things, crazy things falling out of the sky, or fish and animals falling out of the sky, and different red rains and dust, and just all this crazy different stuff. But in the beginning of it, he talks about inclusion, and he talks about it's like very spiritual, I gotta admit. So I recommend checking out that book of the Damned by Charles Fort. You can probably just get the PDF, whatever, he's not still alive. And then I got this book is really cool. Look at this, P.D. Ouspensky, The Symbolism of the Tarot. It's a skinny book, but he's got a section in here on each card of the major arcana. So what I'm going to do is try to flip to one. Oh, the World. I pulled this card today. So it's kind of like a poem on each one. So I'll read this one. Card 21, the World. An unexpected vision appeared to me. A circle, not unlike a wreath, woven from a rainbow and lightnings. Sorry, woven from a rainbow and lightnings. Whirled from heaven to earth, with a stupendous velocity, blinding me by its brilliance. And amidst this light and fire, I heard music and soft singing, thunderclaps and the roar of a tempest, the rumble of falling mountains and earthquakes. The circle whirled with a terrifying noise, touching the sun and the earth, and in the center of it I saw the naked dancing figure of a beautiful young woman, enveloped by a light, transparent scarf in her hand. She held a magic wand. Presently, the four let's try that again. Presently, the four apocalyptic I can't, I don't know why. Sometimes words escape me. I know apocalyptical. Presently, the four apocalyptical beasts. Apocalyptical, there we go. Presently, the four apocalyptical beasts. I just want it's a song. It's all Maynard's fault. Plus, of her, the song that they have. I want to say that what he does. Presently, the four apocalyptical. Presently, the four apocalyptical beasts began to appear on the edges of the circle, one with the face of a lion, another with the face of a man, the third of an eagle, and the fourth of a bull. A weird silence fell on me. What does it mean? I asked in wonder. It is the image of the world, the voice said, but it can be understood only after the temple has been entered. This is a vision of the world in the circle of time, amidst the four principles, but thou seest differently because thou seest the world outside thyself. Learn to see it in thyself, and thou wilt understand the infinite essence hidden in all illusory forms. Understand that the world which thou knowest is only one of the aspects of the infinite world, and things and phenomena are merely hieroglyphics of deeper ideas. Hieroglyphics. Hi. Amazing, right? This is some good stuff. I feel like that's what I was talking about the whole show almost. And to bring that Charles Fort book and then to talk about the earthquakes and stuff is really crazy. So, I never really tried to get sold on any one particular thing that's going to happen in the future, you know. I just think that crazy, you know, this is not what we're told this was. I feel like things could totally happen here that happen in the movies. That's all I'll say. And if those things start happening, what are you going to do? Just keep doing your thing. Do your best. Because if this really is a realm where we're here to learn lessons and all that stuff, if it's your time to die, then it's your time to die. But if not, and you don't think it is, and you're not in despair, I feel like you could just walk right out. Everyone around you will be, you know, burning and suffering, and you'll be watching the Brandon Bonanza show laughing. We'll be the only ones left on YouTube. Everyone else got kicked off or is, I don't know. I don't want to make claims. And it's just us guys. It's like, that would be, you know, maybe that's a good premise. Everybody does these end of the worlds like that show Last Man on Earth and, you know, The Walking Dead and all this stuff where things happen and there's only a few people left. We should do we guys, we should all do this. It would be a good idea, I think, for a premise of a show to be the internet. Like everyone else survives, but something happens and only like, you know, a handful of people are left on the internet. And for some reason no one else could get on it. I don't know, maybe am I talking too much? Am I giving away future movie ideas here, guys? Look at what you're getting here. The Brandon Bonanza show. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. I plan to talk for about an hour, and I think I've been accomplished that goal. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I don't think I left any threads unwoven. So if I did, leave a comment below. If I didn't address something or if I started and didn't address it, just let me know and we shall do that on the next show. But thank you guys so much for checking this out. I'm going to get my song ready and I'm going to play and get out of here. And if you guys want more, go to shadowworked.com. You can get my book there. You could donate. It's the word shadow, the word worked, ed, present tense, past tense.com, and that's where you can support me. So check it out. And I'm going to leave you guys, speaking of sharing, I'm going to leave you with my amazing theme song from the amazing Quentin Farrell. Good night and God bless everybody. Oh, you know, I know what I'm doing here, Brandon, as I said. I turned my speaker off too, I think. I want to hear it with you guys. All right. My speaker went off by itself. We're good now. And now, everybody. Oh, it did start playing. You guys heard it, but I didn't. I want to hear it. All right. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Bonanza, we're hanging out. It's the Brandon Bonanza show. Bonanza, we're hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show. Hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show. Yeah.
All right, I'm done.